What the flick, everybody? Welcome our discussion of The Knick, episode 4. Where's the dignity? Where is it? Enjoy this clip. So, apparently racism was really bad in 1900, even in New York.
Yeah, even among fancy rich people,
but,
or maybe especially among fancy rich people.
Before we talk about racism, actually, and I am struck, and I'm struck as we watch these excellent shows, including The Leftovers, including Masters of Sex, certainly, and I know what you don't watch, but Boardwalk Empire.
Right.
And certainly The Knick, and Ray Donovan, for that matter. The parents are horrible. I mean, the parenting is just abysmal, and any show set in another time, right?
It's even worse.
Oh my God! What is with the parent? What is with Birdie's dad? I mean, who doesn't even understand that they call you Birdie, and that. I mean, because Thackeray is not dismissing him. Thackeray really likes him and is helping him and trying to include him and share it.
Yeah, but the dad doesn't respect Thackeray either, so you know.
Yeah, but it's like across the board abysmal parenting.
My takeaway from this episode, actually, speaking of bad parenting, Dr. Asshole, what's his name? The tall, super racist one?
Oh, right, yeah, the guy who should have gotten the job. Yes, I can't remember his name. Yeah.
Don't put your finger in your baby's mouth when you just got back from the hospital and you've been touching God knows what and you rinsed your hands in a little water.
But by the way, that's probably maybe that was a little that was probably not accidental.
Oh no, as soon as I thought it, I was like, oh my God, no. That's like when you're watching a movie and someone's cutting peppers and they touch their eye. You're just like, oh.
What does everyone have? What does everyone
typhoid.
Everybody's dying of typhoid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no, I'm sure that's a setup. I mean, by no means it was an accidental, but it just struck me as a moment of. Ugh.
And just the horrendous way his wife laughed at Dr. Darky. Yeah. You know, oh, that's so bad.
And I admire the fact that this show throws the N-word in there, and they're judicious about it. They don't wallpaper it. But boy, when it lands, it's like, oh yeah, that was a word that you know. I mean, it is, but it was especially, you know.
And the indignities that what's Algernon's last name?
God, with the characters. Algernon.
The indignities that Algernon has to go through at that party. I mean, just one after the other.
Yeah.
I mean,
for a Negro.
Right. He's a terrific doctor for a Negro. Then this conversation about free labor.
Yes.
You know, right? Oh, well, it built the pyramids, and he's like, well, it's not all. That's not all it built. You know, yeah, because these Costa Ricans are, is it Costa Rica?
Ecuadorians.
These Ecuadorians, they'll work for nothing. And he's like, yeah.
They're like children.
And then with the colonel's wife. You know, oh, it's so great to see you.
Your mom's in the back. Yeah,
I know. An
just
invitation, and she turns like that. Of course, it's so wonderful to see you. I mean, it's just one punch after another.
And even Birdie's sister, didn't he come off on him?
You're
you know,
right.
like,
At least Birdie's sister, you get when Birdie explains it to her, is probably going to learn. Like she's probably going to come out on the right side. But you got to muddle through so much crap to be able to come out on the right side. Because even Thackeray's wrong, although we presume at some point he's at least going to respect Dr. Algernon's ability at some point.
One would hope, yeah. But I mean, obviously, also not a great time to be a woman.
Nope, not a great time to be a woman. Nope, that's right. You guys just love holding babies.
Yeah, that's all we do.
That's right. That's all we do. We're running this frickin' clinic. The other woman's running the hospital, bringing it into the 20th century single-handedly.
Yeah, kicking and screaming and against everyone's protest. And meanwhile, you've got Cleary getting all high and mighty about abortions and blackmailing the nun into giving him 60% of the money she makes. And then when he sees the horrible thing of the Slavic woman who has punctured herself in the uterus to try and induce her own miscarriage, he comes around enough to realize that it's necessary, but he's still against it, and he's still going to take 60% of the money. But now he's going to be the abortion pimp.
Yes, but in a 1900 moment, that was as close as a guy like that gets to an apology.
Relative enlightenment.
Because he grabbed her, they took her to the funeral, they made that funeral happen.
Yeah.
That was a really nice scene.
That was a great scene. That prayer by the grave, I was a little verklempt.
Yeah, that choked you up, and it was him saying, yeah, okay, I've been a jerk to you. I got it. I see what you're doing. I'm technically going to say, I'm outraged by what you're doing, but I got it, because he literally says, I hate it, but I'm not going to let, we can help one more woman do that.
Sure.
And as always, there's there's a buck to be made off this.
Right. Now, do we think that Neely is going to marry son of Ecuador, or the idea of leaving New York going to be like, oh, hell no?
She can't leave. She's got it. And I guess, is there now all of a sudden there's a suggestion in that scene of some romance between those two?
I was wondering about that too, and I didn't know if that show was going to go there, if New York was new at 1900 was ready to go there, but it's certainly possible.
Well, none of those progressives in the room is ready to go there.
No,
question.
but she might, because she's definitely been portrayed throughout as being somebody who's way ahead of her time, and very much the kind of right-on woman.
And really one of the great moments in the show then is Algernon, and then Earth's worst hospital administrator.
oh God, he's the worst.
So that guy,
Mr. Barrow.
Mr. Barrow. So Barrow and Algernon are in they meet in the bowels.
Like, nothing.
I'm just going to file out, check out. I gotta go make sure all the arrangements for the burial are in order. And they're both telling these huge lies, but for completely different reasons. I'm going to my clinic to actually help people, which is why I became a doctor in the first place.
And you were stealing corpses to sell back to somebody else.
You're stealing corpses because you need to make money.
Oh my God! Not only does he steal this woman's husband's corpse and gives her a tin of God knows what, and lies about how the husband wanted to be created.
What is in that?
Charges her $5 for the privilege on top of everything else.
Yeah, he's going to take $5, which she immediately hands over. He is he's
a piece of work.
He is. They're setting him up as one of those television characters that we're not gonna shed one even tiny tear for whatever horrible way.
Yeah, when he gets run over by a carriage or whatever.
Totally.
Now Nurse Elkins making it out to Chinatown, that just seems like fraught with peril.
That's a terrible idea.
And she does it once and sees what's going on and is upset by it. And then, is the implication at the end that she's following him?
I think she's going back. She heard him say it, so she's just now she doesn't need to follow. She knows where he is.
Sure, yeah. But I mean, like she's going in the same direction as the coach.
So you don't like to predict, so I'll ask you to do it anyway.
Oh, go.
So is she going there to share a moment with? She's obviously attracted to him, but is her ultimate goal here going to be to help him? Like you're the best doctor, we got to get you off this.
Possibly, or maybe even it's just if something horrible happens, you're going to need a nurse.
Right.
She's just hovering to kind of,
in case anything goes wrong.
Yeah, possibly.
Because we don't even quite know what she did when the offer was made to her of a bottle of jade. Whatever,
right. We assume she said no, but maybe she's reconsidered it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see where that's.
She doesn't seem like she'd participate in that sort of thing. But.
And then we have the X with the flap, which is the most horrifying procedure. I can't imagine. All the mechanics of that, and then at the end of it, they don't even have a bridge for your nose. Like she's basically just going to have a cover for the triangle hole in the middle of her face, and it's still going to be flat.
And that's going to be their big success.
That's success, yeah. If they manage that.
If they manage that, and the skin stays alive there, and she doesn't get some horrible infection in that hospital filled with typhoid of what's ever happening.
Right, with the big open thing, and that is she getting circulation? Is her muscles atrophying if it's going to be tied into place for weeks?
Yeah, a lot of.
How are we not all dead? That's what I ask myself every week watching the show. How do we not all die up to this point in history?
And we saw that early flashback to their relationship.
Yes. The Christmas.
The Christmas party
with Matt Frewer still alive.
With he's still alive and says, I'm going to prove that you can take out your appendix and the patient can still live.
Yes.
So I mean, only we presume. Maybe they haven't even figured that out yet, but at best only in the last 5 years, 7 years have they figured out how to do that.
It's good to have goals.
Yeah, man. So, and just and then him. What about the ethics? What the father was upset about the Slavic woman, the Russian woman dies after self-aborting, and he reaches up and he can
the pump in the heart.
The heart pump. Yeah.
Well, he is investigating. He is as much of a researcher as a surgeon. So I mean, if that leads to the defibrillator or something, great. I mean, it's,
I agree. I'm with you. But there was.
Bertie's father, I'm sure, is all like, how dare you? But these are the guys who stand in the way of science.
Right. This is literally how we do this.
Right. And then now one thing that I did think was a little TV about this episode was the whole thing about
I agree completely.
The rich girl and doing the surgery and being inspired by the one to do the other, and
Wait. The rich girl.
The girl with typhoid that he goes in to fix her stomach. I'm trying to remember now the sequence of events, but basically he is, I think it's the conversation with Nose Flap that inspires him to think that like to never give up and to always try.
Oh yeah, that was in the previous. That was in the previous, which you saw
episode,
too.
okay.
You saw too
Yeah,
once.
sorry.
So yeah, that was a little TV. And what I didn't like about this episode, where I thought you were going, so I'll be curious whether I didn't really like the health inspector rich person scenes. Like I thought he was too. He's not that big an idiot. Like, you know, and now I need to talk to you about your toilet habits.
He may well could be. I mean, he's been presented as kind of grubby and corrupt the whole time.
Yes, I got him. I like it. Just I would have liked his boorishness to be a little more clever.
Take it to 7, maybe.
Yeah, take it to 7, and then maybe we would have implied 10. But you know, but asking whether were there girlfriends? You know, she's like, oh, I have lots of girlfriends. It was just I thought that scene was indelicately handled.
I guess. I mean, it's a character we've only seen a couple of times up until now, so it didn't feel like, oh, we know this character is going to be this, and now they've made him exaggerated. It was a big moment, but I think also we are dealing with a greater divide of class differences and of behavioral modes that I mean I mostly bought it. I see your point, and it could have been more delicate, but I think it didn't seem so outrageously lampoony that it took me out of the moment or anything. I was like, eat the peach milk ice cream, eat the peach milk ice cream. And then finally, to go back to the party, the mother's description. I mean, after hearing that the literal story is that there's typhoid in among your neighbors, your snooty neighbors. And then the walking tour. Oh, my friends did a walking tour of the Tenderloin. The Jewish district.
Right, the muck on their shoes, the disgusting muck on their shoes. Oh my God, these people are reprehensible.
I love the connections not being made of like oh yes, they just chose to live like this, and this is of course how they do, and so naturally the
city doesn't take care of those streets.
They deserve all the diseases they get,
But as always, though, good stuff, and and we're led to believe. But what is clear is that when the good-looking tall doctor, the doctor who's not Bertie,
Dr. Asshole, yes,
when he says that Algernon is going to, he'll get so frustrated that he'll leave, and I'll get the promotion that was mine in the first place. Like that's a TV moment of no, that's never going to happen. Yeah. He is going to keep that promotion, and which means Thackeray at some point is going to be like
begrudgingly something.
I guess so.
We didn't acknowledge the big moment of this episode actually, which is Algernon calling his bluff. And basically saying,
right at the beginning.
I'm right here. I will go in and do it, but otherwise, you're on your own.
What Algernon knows that the Dr. Asshole doesn't know at that point is clearly like, when I come in, this doesn't take long.
Yeah.
right. I can do this, and I can do this quickly.
Yeah. It's a baller move.
Yeah, it is. And then that tense moment later, he's like, "You want to hit me again? This time I'm ready for it." Yeah.
And I liked the joke about Union. I would have thought Confederate.
Yeah, that was All right, The Knick. We love it. It's certainly Cinemax's most significant offering to date.
Yeah.